a life-changing jackpot, a once-in-a-lifetime prize, a phone call or email that feels like destiny finally knocking, fake lotteries, phony sweepstakes, exclusive jackpots that never existed. Scammers craft stories so convincing that even the most cautious senior can feel like they finally hit the grand slam of their life. It's the fantasy scammers count on, and the moment their victims step into the world built entirely on lies, they promise millions but demand taxes up front. They create urgency, excitement, and hope, the perfect storm for manipulation. Today, we break down how these scams work, who they target, and the warning signs that expose the lie before it drains a victim's savings or trust. It's a journey into the dream that becomes a trap. Welcome to Fraud on the Front Porch, and the truth about fraud starts now. Hello, folks, and thanks for joining, listening, or watching. Today's episode is all about the jackpot that never was. It's the scam of the fake lottery and the subsequent fake prizes. Hello, as always, Sean, my fellow fraud Ferrer. Great to see you.
Tony, great to see you. Great to be here. I got some bad news and good news. The bad news is I've got to quit the podcast and quit my job. The good news is I just found out I am the last remaining survivor of a Nigerian prince's family, and they're going to send me $5 million. Isn't that great? I'm a millionaire.
Yes,
All I got to do is send them $4,000 to help them, get the money overseas. So, I just hit the jackpot today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you.
fantastic news. I'm going to really miss you, but I think I might even see you next week
Yeah.
because, unfortunately, that's really not the way how all this goes.
No, it isn't. You would see me next week with less money.
Yeah, that's true. Because today we're diving into the most common lottery prize scams that are targeting seniors. We're going to learn a little bit more about how fraudsters and scammers create those convincing jackpot scenarios and the steps that many of them take, at least the steps we should be taking the moment we're contacted about any sort of prize.
Yeah, we want to talk about how they exploit excitement and hope and how to verify if, your jackpot, your prize is legitimate. And there are some warning signs, they might be subtle, that tell you it's a scam.
Yeah. We're going to share some stories. We're going to share some strategies, some tactics. We'll talk about a successful intervention, and we'll start, as always, with some very impactful statistics that should probably leave everyone shaking their heads.
Yeah.
Sean, let's get into how big this problem really is. These lottery scams, they're not small crimes. They're billion-dollar. No, I'd say they're probably multi-billion-dollar. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
It is. That they are a huge problem, and the FTC reports that seniors lose over $200 million a year to these prize scams alone.
Yeah, and that's, again, the number that only gets reported. I'd bet it's much higher, no pun intended.
Yeah, and that's where it gets even worse. The average loss on some of these scams is, for somebody over 70, is around $9,000. That's not pocket change at all.
Yeah, I think for most seniors, that's probably a lifetime of careful budgeting wiped out with a single phone call.
Terrible, huh? Here's another one. According to the U.S. Senate Special Committee on Aging, lottery scams are the number one most reported scam among seniors over 75. So not the tech scams, not the romance scams. It's these lottery scams really that are very profitable for the fraudsters.
That's incredible. And, it's pretty heartbreaking. That's scams tapping into hope. So going back to something we discussed before, texting scams are the most prevalent, but lottery scams are the most reported. That indicates a couple of things to me. First, lottery scams probably leave seniors very angry.
Yep.
And second, they probably leave them most financially damaged.
And this is probably no surprise either. 80% of these scams originate overseas from outside the United States, primarily from Jamaica, Costa Rica, and Nigeria. And that makes this really, really hard to shut down.
Yeah, they're sophisticated. They're international crime rings, and that takes a lot of coordination, a lot of sophistication. It's not just some lone fraudster sitting in a basement.
Yeah, and they're organized. It's a whole crime ring, as you said. The FBI estimates that some of these call centers make over $300,000 a week
Holy,
targeting seniors. $300,000 a week.
I almost used inappropriate language.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Uh, yeah, 300,000 a week. That's industrial scale fraud, way beyond corporate fraud.
Yeah, and unfortunately, 1 out of every 3 seniors who receives a fake lottery phone call actually engages with the scammer, whether or not they
Mm.
ultimately pay. But, we've got this built-in trust, and we want to have a conversation with people over the phone.
Yeah, man, do not pick up that phone.
Nope.
Tells you how convincing these scams are. It's not about intelligence. It's at the end of the day, it's just all emotional manipulation.
They know seniors are more likely to answer from an unknown number and stay on the phone longer to be polite, all which increases vulnerability. And the most troubling number of all, once again, we always get to the end of these statistics lists, is it's estimated only 6% of victims ever report the scam. So think about that. We just said it's the most reported, but on the
Mhm.
flip side, we're estimating that only 6% of people who are scammed are actually reporting it.
I love the numbers. I like
Yeah.
doing the math. And, as you do the research, as we discuss these kinds of things, I like to try to figure out what this really means. So 6%, that means that 94% of those people who get scammed stay silent.
Yes.
And if it's the number one reported scam for folks over 75, that means there's a crap ton under 75 not
Yeah.
reporting.
Yep.
And that is the only way the percentage can get down to 6%. That's a shame.
It,
That's just horrible.
it also means the real financial impact is probably 10 times higher than
Oh, yeah,
the statistics
absolutely.
we read on
That's
paper. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I believe that the scam, although reported at 200 million for that certain class, is well into the 2 billions.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it goes beyond money. I've seen some studies showing that seniors who fall victim to these lottery scams are 3 times more likely to experience depression, anxiety, social withdrawal, and even a loss of trust in their family and
Yeah.
institutions.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't talk about enough, that emotional toll. Uh, Not only are you losing your money along the way, you're absolutely losing your confidence.
Yeah, it's the whole package. And also, once you fall for a scam, you're more likely to be scammed again. So these scam groups and these fraud rings share their what they call their sucker list,
Mm.
so to speak, with each other because they want to know who the easier targets are.
Mm. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this earlier this week. He admitted to me that his Yahoo account had been compromised due to a fake invitation that he had received through the wife of a friend. And when I explained the sucker list premise to him and how one scam is going to turn or could potentially turn into 5 or 6, he was not very happy.
Yeah,
That's why we're diving deeper into this concept in a future episode. This It's a really fascinating
yeah.
topic, how
Well,
this
that's why
this
we're here today
fraud
too.
leaked out.
We're gonna break that cycle today.
Yeah, good. All right, let's start with that Grand Slam breakup. Let's share some common lottery and prize scams that we've found in our research.
Yeah, let me start with a story. Sounds like a dream, almost ends up as a nightmare. A senior
Yeah.
received a phone call from someone claiming they had just hit the jackpot. The caller told them they won $3.5 million in a brand new Mercedes. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. All they had to do was take care of a few details so the winnings could be released. And of course, those details turned out to be wire transfers.
Hmm.
So unfortunately, over time, this senior sent over $12,000 to the scammers, believing each payment was moving them closer and closer to this massive payout. And actually, what finally stopped this wasn't a moment of doubt, it was the bank.
Oh, good.
So the bank flagged these repeated wire transfers. They didn't look right and they stepped in. So once these transfers were investigated, they were reversed, fortunately, and the scam was traced back to a call center in Jamaica. So in this case, the money was recovered, but only because the financial institution was paying attention before it was too late to recover it.
Yeah, banks are getting good. Yeah,
Yep.
I've got something a little bit later to share regarding banks and just the plea that folks listen to their banks.
Yep.
It helps everybody when folks listen to their banks. All right, this one hits close to home for a lot of folks. It's a Publishers Clearinghouse imposter. For those of us who are seniors growing up with PCH and learning about that $1 million payday, this senior was contacted by someone claiming to be from Publishers Clearinghouse. Caller, of course, was confident, official, reassuring, told the senior they'd won a prize. But before the prize could be released, there had to be some remuneration of processing fees.
Mm.
Trusting the caller, the senior went ahead and sent $4,000. What raised the alarm wasn't a bank or a computer search. In this case, it was actually family. The senior's daughter noticed that the caller kept insisting on secrecy.
Mm.
No one else could know. No one else should be told.
That's a big
And
one.
that pressure to stay quiet, as we know, often exposes a lie. So once the scam was identified, the senior was refunded, and the phone number used by the fake PCH individual got blocked. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful fraud detection tool is just a second set of eyes.
Yeah, that's so helpful, and the secrecy thing is huge. But I think, Tony, we all know if you win a Publishers Clearinghouse award, they show up in front of your house with a big check, don't they? And pound on your door till you open it.
I guess. I mean, they did all through my childhood. I don't know if they still do anymore.
Yeah, they show up with
Yeah,
balloons and
like
cameras and a
I would
big
agree
check.
with you though. You should. Unfortunately, Ed McMahon's passed, so it's not like he's showing up. So I
Right.
guess they've got probably what Ryan Seacrest. He
Yeah,
seems to be involved in everything else these days.
somebody's showing up at your house. All right. Well, I've got another one. Um, Another story that almost became a financial disaster, but is kind of a success story. So a senior received an email announcing they'd won something called the U.S. Mega Federal Sweepstakes. How good does that sound, Tony? The message looked official and
Oh my
impressive,
God.
and it instructed the senior to prepare $7,800 to claim the prize. Ugh. So luckily, before sending the money, this senior mentioned it to their nephew, and that one conversation, of course, saved the day. Um, their nephew did one simple, quick online search of the program's name and discovered, surprise, surprise, no such lottery ever existed. There was no federal
Love it.
sweepstakes. Because of that, just a quick verification online, no money was lost and the scam was reported before it could harm anyone else. So sometimes it's not about replying yes or no in the moment, Tony. It's just stopping and having someone else take a look before you do anything.
Ask for help.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it. All right. Last one I've got is out of thin air lottery. This shows how scammers can vanish the moment they get challenged, which is a great signal for everybody. Senior gets a text message, and text message claims they've won the private European lottery.
Private.
Goes nice with your mega US
Oh
lottery.
my gosh, a private lottery.
Private lottery. You believe that? Like who would ever believe they've won a private lottery? But obviously the numbers state that they do.
Yeah.
There was the typical excitement, typical sense of urgency, and of course the instructions from the scammer were to move forward quickly. Senior initially sent $2,000 believing the prize was real, but then something changed, most likely a pause. Instead of rushing ahead, the senior asked a question. Very simple, powerful question. Can you send me written proof?
Mm-hmm.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
We love those kinds of statements.
Yeah.
That request stopped everything, and the scam began to flip in the senior's favor. Scammer refused to provide any documentation. Again, things
No
start going
surprise.
south,
Yep.
but then completely disappeared. Obviously, scammers don't want to work too hard for their money. If it gets too challenging, they're out the door. So, no follow up messages, no pressure, no lottery at all. Senior stopped the payment, cutting off any further losses, and the fake prize vanished just as quickly as it had appeared. The proof exposed the lies, and scammers know it.
I I think that's another good lesson there about not ending up on that scammer sucker list, Tony. I mean, if you push
Yeah,
back on these guys, they're not going to add your name to whatever list they're sharing with their compatriots. You know what I
that's a
mean?
great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah. So it's not only about avoiding the scam, but avoiding the second shakedown as
Yeah.
well.
Get
Love it.
you get less calls in the future. I think that's ideal for everybody.
Amen. Amen to that. All right, let's break down what I like to call the interrogatives, how scammers build these fake jackpots, because I think this is where the entire scam either lives or dies. And I think once you understand the architecture of the scam, you can spot it before it even gets started.
Yeah, and I started off the whole podcast with a joke about the old Nigerian prince scam. I mean, that's been around, I think, since email was invented. And so looking through it through the lens of that, we can walk through how most of these scams do operate. And first it starts off with that feeling of excitement, right? They hit
Yeah,
you with that emotional high. You've won millions. You know, we've got $10 million that we need to move to your bank account. You've been selected out of thousands of people. You know, they want your brain to just feel that adrenaline and to light up before your logic, the logical side of your brain can kick in.
makes sense.
And then the second part is that urgency. We talk about that urgency all the time. You must act today. We need you to confirm within the hour. You know, with with the inheritance scam, it's um, we've got to process this within the next 3 days or you won't be able to claim your $10 million. So they want you to make that quick decision without thinking about it, without sharing it with anyone else, without questioning it. That's another big piece. And then the third part, which you hinted on in one of your stories, is the secrecy. They want you to not tell anybody about it. They'll say, don't tell anyone, it might delay your prize. They'll tell you, you have to keep this confidential until the announcement. You know, if it's a super secret lottery that nobody knows about, well, you don't want to tell people about this till you get your money, or the prize is under a federal review or something like that. So they want you to be isolated and not talk to anyone else about it. Again, so excitement, urgency, and isolation. That's kind of the three ingredients to mixing together a lottery scam.
Man, it's isolation. It's the gift that keeps on giving to the scammers.
Yep.
But for us, immediate red flag.
Yeah.
For everyone else listening, isolation, immediate red flag. All right, tell us a little bit more about how the scammers tailor the scams themselves.
Well, unfortunately, they have access to all kinds of data about who you are, maybe what your career was, maybe what you do in your spare time through all kinds of data leaks and social media. So they might really tailor their message to you. If you're a veteran, it might be a military appreciation sweepstakes. If you're involved in a church, it might be a faith-based prize offering. If you're a retiree, of course, they're going to play on the senior lotteries, senior bonus lotteries, and of course, again, they use big brand names out in the wild. So if you shop online, it's going to be a customer loyalty jackpot. Congratulations, you just got
Wow.
$5,000 in Target gift cards coming your way. You know. Um, they'll use whatever they can from your identity and use it as bait.
How do they get such targeted data?
Uh, Public records, social media, data breaches, mailing lists, obituary notices. I think that's horrible, but these fraud rings are known to browse obituary lists so they can find their next target. It's all targeted. It's not random.
I I don't feel like I don't feel like we could find that data if we had to, but maybe we could. Maybe they're paying for services. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole industry. It's a whole market.
How how do they build around the numbers? Like, what do they come at us with in terms of like how much should they be bilking us for?
Yeah. Well, it's always some big round number, but also a little bit believable. Think if it's like 2 million, you won 2 million, if you won 5 million, or one of them, I think in our examples was 8.5 million. And because they feel life changing but still believable, if you get an offer out of the blue for $600 million for $1.2 billion, you won't believe it. But keeping those
Sure.
numbers in the low millions feels okay. And then sometimes they'll throw in a car. Hey, you also want a Mercedes or a BMW that feels like it's official, like this prize has been sponsored by Ford. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
all kinds
That's
of stuff to
clever.
hook you. Yeah, it is clever. It's all kinds of stuff
That's
to hook you.
clever. I'd take just a used car.
That's right. I'm sure
Um,
someone will call you and try to offer you that. A 2012 Ford Explorer heading your way.
that'd still be a better car than what I have right now. Alright, tools. Talk a little bit about the tools that they use. I know from our other talks that my presumption is they're probably using sophisticated tools.
Yeah, they're not amateurs. They use, spoofed caller IDs. So when they call you in the
Right.
first place, it might actually say US government on your phone.
Oh my god.
It might say state lottery. It might say publishers clearinghouse, Tony. Um, they might send you pictures of fake badges with their photo and an ID number. They might send you a photo of a fake check that already has your name on it. Here it is. I've got the check ready for you. We just got to move this, through customs or whatever those stories
Oh,
are.
customs.
Um, they definitely have scripts. They work on their script. They work together, and those are written by those fraud crime rings themselves. And they might actually use voice modulation software when they're talking to
Wow,
you on the phone to either sound older or younger,
that's a
in
good one.
order to sound more official.
That's a good one.
Yeah. They're also very coordinated, might be multiple actors on the phone. So you might have one who's calling you to say they are the agent, and then they say, hey, let me pass you to my supervisor once they get you talking, because then it feels more official. Like, okay, now I'm talking to, a manager of the lottery institution. And I mean, they might even say, we, for the one of the reasons they will give you to pay them before you get the prize is because of taxes or IRS. So sometimes they will patch in somebody who they say was from the IRS. Here, I've got your representative here that says, um, this is why you need to pay us $4,000 now to get your $4 million. And it's all to just create that illusion of legitimacy.
Yeah.
And it, I mean, it's a whole acting workshop. It's a psychological operation.
How do they get how do they figure out, like, what is the amount to actually try to bilk me out of?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is just that flat fee right out front. Again, the Nigerian prince scam was always, hey, we need so much money, but sometimes they start small. It might be, hey, we just need $200 quick, $500 right off the bat. Something you can afford, Tony, without too much thought. Like, okay, this is money, but it doesn't sound too horrible. And then what happens though is once they get that first hook in, then there are more. And it will be, now we need a processing fee. Now we
Yeah.
need an insurance fee. Now there's a delivery fee. Now, of course, here's the tax fee, the customs fee. And that's how these thousands and thousands of dollars keep adding up.
Yeah, that's definitely what my research is showing, that like anything, you just gotta get them believing it's legitimate, and then you can just start reeling it in. It's like fishing in the same spot. You keep dropping the line in the same spot and catching the next one coming through the
Yep.
channel. That's smart. And I'm sure that they also watch how quickly a victim will pay these respective fees, and then conclude that if someone's paying quickly, they can push harder and pursue for even more fees.
Yeah, you got it. You're right. Some some of our victims lose tens of thousands of dollars because the fraudster just keeps inventing new fees and new taxes until the senior's bank account is
And
drained
that's
as
the
much
worst
as they
part of
can.
it. They hit
Yep.
the emotional core of the scam, which is hope. And I would say anybody, and seniors, of course, but anybody, it's hard to shut that spigot off.
Well,
Once you've got hope.
yeah. I mean, once you get that promise of money and you're invested in that story, you are willing to contribute whatever you can. I mean, seniors
Yeah.
often face financial stress, loneliness, a desire to leave something behind for their family, all those things. So, the message is sometimes this prize will change your family's future, or you can finally pay off all those medical bills you have,
Yeah.
or you've lived a great life and you deserve this blessing. I mean, it's very psychological.
Yeah. And when you believe it, you double down, right? Even though all of your
Yep.
dreams are being turned into traps.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, again, it's all because they follow a simple formula. They overwhelm you with that excitement, and they
Yeah.
overwhelm you with the urgency. Of course, they're impersonating trusted brands or governments or agencies the whole time, and they craft a believable story that feels too good to question. And all those things mixed together can create a story and kind of put you in a dream scenario where you're not thinking logically, but they're always going to demand money up front, Tony. There's no, that's the hugest red flag out of all of this is once you hear you need to pay in advance of receiving this prize, it's a scam.
As you were sharing that, I was thinking to myself, I wonder how much time these folks spend acting. Like if
Right.
obviously they're fraud rings. How much are they acting? How much are they getting each other to rehearse and learn? They don't just
Is
throw them
there a,
out there. They want to be believable. They've got to go. It's almost like we're going to put you through acting school.
is there a
It's
fraud
part of
ring
your
improv
training.
group? Fraud ring improv.
Yeah,
Let me
fraud ring
join that
improv.
group.
It just it confounds me that people fall for these traps, but it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And I've said this about fraud very similarly to sales. You know, think about like how many hundred cold calls did you have to make back in the 1960s to cold call sell razors? You know, even though it was a product at the end of the day, it's really no different
Hmm.
with these types of scams. Sean, these are great warnings. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing those. Okay. Let's share a quick story of Miss Helen, who amazingly lost $14,000 quickly.
Mm.
The lottery dream sleeping. Outside, the tax nightmare. Let me take you into the moment a dream became a nightmare for one senior. Helen, age 79, was folding laundry when the phone rang. A warm voice said, "Ma'am, this is David from the National Prize Bureau. I'm calling with wonderful news. You've won $2.8 million and a brand new Ford Explorer." Helen froze. She'd never won anything in her life. The caller knew her address. He knew her late husband's name. He even mentioned her church. He told her she'd been randomly selected from a senior appreciation sweepstakes. All she had to do was pay the $3,200 tax fee up front. Helen hesitated, but the caller was patient, kind, reassuring. He said, "Ma'am, this is your blessing. Don't let fear steal it." She wired the money. Then came the next fee, and the next, and the next. By the time her daughter discovered what was happening, Helen had sent $14,000. The prize never existed. The caller vanished, and Helen was left with an empty bank account and a broken heart. Sean, there's a lot of details from that story that I'm sure make it only sadder.
Yep.
Helen obviously had several opportunities to avoid the trap, especially with the escalating fees we just talked about. Um, let's do some work. So we don't see any more Helens out there. Let's talk about how the seniors can verify the legitimacy of
Yeah,
these
let's
scams.
talk. Let's talk about what Helen could have done here a little bit differently. We always say the first step is to pause, question, ask for help. So if she would have paused there and thought, no legitimate prize that somebody is winning, that you and I would win, is going to require that immediate action. You could
Yeah.
question yourself, did I actually enter this contest? I mean, that's a big one, right? If you're going to win Publishers Clearinghouse, you bought 50,000 magazine subscriptions, right? Like you entered the prize drawing. So, and then again, never pay fees up front. Never ever share your bank info over the phone to these people.
Yeah.
And once you are pausing and questioning things, you can, of course, use the tools we always talk about: FTC, scam alerts, the AARP's network, and even your state's attorney general office has information. And of course, your bank. Your bank probably has their own fraud department, so that's always a quick phone call away as well. And so,
Nice.
one more thing Helen should have done is just hang up and call the organization directly. So if someone's calling you and says they're from XYZ organization and you've won a prize, and then starts asking more and more about it, you can always hang up and call back, or hang up and try to look up that organization to see if they have a legitimate phone number. Also, keeping a list of contests you actually entered is a good thing to have on hand, and so you just never trust those unsolicited prize notifications. I mean, there's just there. I don't know how you win a lottery you never signed up for, Tony, but
Mm.
that's the angle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I certainly recognize several crossover strategies there for really any type of fraud.
Yep.
I can tell you for me, caller ID has become an absolute nightmare. Uh, and I really hope that if folks are entering any kind of contest, they're diligent enough to be keeping a list or some reference to which ones they did enter. Um,
Yeah, and
all right.
I,
Good. Good.
on I have an iPhone and I send unknown numbers right to voicemail. I mean, they don't even ring on my phone. I just got one right now while you were talking, and it just flashes on the screen, this number's calling, but it doesn't really ring. And so I get so many phone numbers of people trying to sell me stuff for all kinds of scams, and it's all has to do with money, and I don't want to hear any of it. So, I mean, that's a way to just get those phone numbers off of your phone. You
I
don't even want to see it ringing. If it's important, if I really want something, I mean, they'll leave a voicemail.
I have my ringer off most of the time.
Yeah.
My kids talk about it like, I'm like, it's very easy to apologize to them and say, "I'm sorry, I missed your call. I was
Yeah.
working."
Right.
But I leave my ringer off, and any number that comes to my phone that I don't recognize, I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And most of the time, if they don't leave a voicemail telling me something, I don't even bother with it. I delete and move on. Just delete and move on.
I
My philosophy is if it's that important, it'll come back.
I mean, really, I probably get one legitimate phone call a week. Everybody else is email or text. If it's
Yeah.
if, I don't know who actually calls me anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Most people will text you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You ready for a quiz?
Yeah. Ready.
All right. So we're going to see if we can stump you. Just 5 quick questions. Probably not too difficult for you, I'm sure, but let's see what we can do. All right. What's the number one sign a lottery is fake?
Well, you might think it's a funny name of a lottery like we were laughing at earlier, but actually the number one sign is that you are asked to pay fees or taxes up front.
Amen. Bingo.
As soon as you
Bingo
hear
on
that,
that.
hang up.
Number 2, true or false? You can win a lottery you never entered.
I hope everybody knows that's false. I mean, I don't know how you can win a lottery you'd never signed up for. So never trust anything you're not already connected to.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, let's be honest. I could enter you into a lottery and you could win it and you would have won something you never entered
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
But if you, like your point, if you're not connected to it, in other words, if I haven't communicated to you, hey, I entered you into this lottery, you probably should just no thanks
Yeah.
and move on
Exactly.
because the odds of that are so small. You're better off standing in your front yard and getting struck by lightning
Yep.
twice.
For sure.
What's the safest way to verify a prize?
Yeah. If you think it's legitimate, of course, contact that organization directly using their official website, find their official phone number. Um, Again, search the site on your own. Don't use a link that anybody provides you. We always say don't click the link that shows up in your email or on your phone or anything they send or tell you over the phone. So do your own research outside of whoever contacted you and however they did it.
Great response. I say that goes hand in glove with number 2. If you think somehow you are connected to it, look at what you said for number 3.
Yep.
Verify it.
Yep.
Uh, okay. What emotion do scammers rely on most?
Uh, in this case, it is the excitement piece to help shut down the logical part of your brain quickly. I mean, but it's followed by a close second of urgency. I mean, here's your big
Yeah.
winnings. Here's all your dreams fulfilled. And by the way, you have 3 hours to get back to me. You need to hurry up and reply.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that in this case, this is probably one of the only types of scams where excitement actually trumps urgency, you know?
Yeah.
In most cases,
Yeah.
urgency is of the day because you're winning something versus making urgency work in so many other
That's
situations
not,
where you're supposed to affect the transaction. Here, you're just excited about the transaction in general.
yep. Yep.
That's pretty amazing manipulation there. All right, last question, number 5. What is the best long-term protection strategy?
If you're actually signing up for sweepstakes, signing up for these lotteries, um, keep a list. Make sure you know what you're signing up for and what you've put in for. And if you have that running list available to you, if somebody calls you from a fake lottery name, you know it's a scam.
Perfect. Unlike my list of charities that I admitted that I kept that I give to, I don't keep a list of sweepstakes that I
Mhm.
enter for one simple reason. I don't enter any. I'm just not a gambler. It's just
Yeah,
not my thing.
I
I
never win.
uh
I never win anything, anyways. There's no point in me entering any kind of
I
drawing.
have gotten I have gotten lucky, like, when I've taken my kids to events and somebody pulls my ticket out of
Well,
it.
there you go.
That's that's as far as I go with but everybody's there right in the middle, there's
Yep.
nothing, untoward about except maybe the amount of money they're collecting for the cause, but but no, I've won in those situations. I don't gamble, which and that kinda brings me to my next point. The real power in all of this is the avoidance, just staying away from all of it. Do you have any prevention strategies that you could share with us? I mean, it's easy for me to say something like, "Don't trust lottery scams," but I don't think that really does the trick. It's kind of like, "Don't cross the road when cars are coming." People are still going to try to cross the road.
Yeah, right.
Anything you want to share here?
I mean, the golden rule is if you didn't enter it, you didn't win it. I mean, it sounds simple, but that's probably your most powerful filter you can use.
Yeah.
If somebody's telling you you won something, I mean, did I buy a ticket? Did I did I fill out a form somewhere? Did I enter a drawing? Um, it's really easy to step back and think, I don't even think I entered this. And then, of course, again, legitimate lotteries are not going to ask you for that fee up front.
Right. Yeah.
Um, another rule is, or another thing to think about is those fraudsters rely on speed. They want you to act before you think. So again, that habit of pausing, put the phone down even for 30 seconds and just take a breath, take a second. And just invoking that pause breaks kind of that emotional spell that may be holding you captive in the moment, and allow a little bit of that your logical problem solving part of your brain to kick back in.
I love that idea of putting the phone down. You're giving somebody something physically they can do.
Hmm.
It's so much more powerful than the emotional pause, right? We always say pause. I love the pause. The pause is exactly what you're asking somebody to do, but you're making them pause by physically putting the phone down. I love that as a strategy. I I use phrases like, I don't make financial decisions on the spot. Somebody calls me,
Yep.
please send it to me in writing. Or I say something like, I need to check with my family first. These are all negotiation strategies that I've learned in the past in my quote earlier career. I also let folks know that if I'm feeling any pressure, I share that with them and I let them know, hey, I feel pressure. And when I feel pressure, it doesn't end well for you. And
Yeah.
so I let them know, and they most times back off. If I feel any pressure additionally, I know immediately, no matter what's going on, this is not a transaction I should be involved in.
Right. I mean, that kind of language is armor for you, Tony. I mean, that gives seniors permission to slow the scam down, and fraudsters hate that. Fraudsters will be upset with you on the phone if you try to slow them down.
Yeah.
And finally, verifying the scam, or verifying the lottery, I should say. Verification's everything. And again, go to the official website. Don't go through any link, anything they tell you. Check with the trusted family member. And I mean, if it's a state or a federal government lottery claim, that stuff's posted on their website. On the lottery website, it will show what the prize is, when it was distributed, when it's being handed out. All
Yeah.
that information's there.
Yeah, that's a good point because, as you mentioned earlier, just you gotta ignore caller ID. Fraudsters can spoof local numbers.
Yep.
They can spoof numbers, as you said, US government, make it look
Yep.
official.
Yeah.
Gotta remove that opportunity from them right away. Right away.
Yeah. So some safe habits there are, let those unknown numbers go to voicemail. We just talked about that. Um, block international numbers. International numbers are spoofed as well. And if somebody you don't know anybody in the UK shouldn't be calling you. You know what I mean? You don't need
Yeah.
to answer that number. Um, and just keep that list of sweepstakes you're entering. Um, review your bank statements monthly, of course, if something sneaky and deceptive's going on there, and there's constant withdrawals. And then we talk about this all the time, but never, ever, ever wire money and never buy gift cards for any of this for strangers. I mean, the second you hear wire transfer or gift cards to somebody you don't know, that should be the immediate reason to hang up, because that is 100% a scam.
Yeah. Hmm. All right. I've been listening. been paying a little bit of attention here. Let me see if I can summarize this. Um, Ultimately, it's about our emotions. Got to keep them in check.
Yep.
Can't react to the excitement. You're a millionaire, or you're going to be a millionaire, or you'll be a multimillionaire. Can't react to the fear. You're going to lose the prize money if you don't make the payment, right? Warning statement right there.
Yep.
Can't respond to the flattery. You were specially chosen. You're veteran of the year. You're the super 100th shopper that we've been looking for all of our corporate lives. And then finally, you can't react to the urgency that we need your payment today.
Yeah, it's the emotions. If you feel your heart rate go up because you feel special, if you feel pressured, if you feel very excited, I mean, take that pause. That emotional hook, that spike you feel is how the scammers get you every time.
Yeah, every time. Every time. Well, fortunately, not everyone gets scammed in these situations. I think you've got a story for us
Yeah, it's a
about
winner.
George.
George with a win. So this one is about George, age 82, got a phone call, said he won $5 million.
Mm.
He was told, now that everybody's listened, we should be able to hear these red flags. He was told to, number one, keep it a secret. And number two, pay $2,000 in insurance fees up front.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yep.
ding.
So he went to the bank to wire the money, and the teller noticed something was off. She started asking questions, and it took a few minutes, but she finally got George to start talking, and he admitted he'd been told not to tell anyone. So he was being resistant, talking to the teller, which of course she immediately recognized it as a scam. So she stopped the transfer, actually called George's daughter, who contacted the state fraud hotline. So George
Yeah.
lost nothing. One alert bank employee saved him from losing $2,000 and maybe much, much more of his life savings.
Good for George, but even better for the bank teller.
Right.
This is something I introduced as a concept earlier with regard to bank employees. I've talked to some bank employees recently who've shared with me that sometimes their patrons tell them to mind their own business, even when the bank is 100% sure the customer is being scammed.
Isn't that something? You
It's crazy.
trust a stranger over the phone versus a stranger. Maybe the bank teller's a stranger too, but you're picking one stranger to trust over another.
That goes to show you how incredibly good the scammer
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
at the isolation part of it,
Yep.
the secrecy part of it, the script and convincing nature of it. What I can offer is that you might seriously want to consider what your bank is telling you, even if they're telling you something you don't want to hear. And not just your bank, your credit card company,
Yeah.
or whomever seeks to intervene on your behalf. As you mentioned earlier, Sean, if you're really a winner, urgency's not your friend.
Right.
It's worth checking things out a little more thoroughly along the way.
Yeah, and take that advice from the bank. I mean, people at financial institutions, like you said, have lots of experience with it. They would be able to reassure you that what's happening to you right now is very common, that it's a common scam. They can help you report it. And then if anything does happen, those are the people that can secure your bank accounts. Those are the people that can secure your money from you losing any more of it going forward.
Yeah, and I spoke with one bank manager who told me the customer was begged not to initiate or involve themselves in the transaction, did it, lost the money,
Yep.
and then came back and asked the bank why they didn't say something.
Yeah.
And they're like, "We did. We said something."
It's horrible.
It
Yeah.
is horrible. Sean, this has been fun. This has been great. Thanks for your time today. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah. Lottery scams aren't just financial crimes, they're emotional ones. They exploit like we talked about, hope, trust, the desire for something better. But we like to educate on this podcast, and awareness changes everything. It changes all that. And then, of course, always have your safety net around family. Maybe it is those bank tellers in your financial institution, but your family and your community are a huge safety net to helping you avoid the next scam.
Perfect. Thank you. So until next time, let's keep educating. Let's keep talking. And let's keep protecting our seniors.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. A jackpot promise can feel magical, but behind it may be a scammer ready to strike. Today you learned how these scams work, how they target seniors, and how to spot the warning signs before it's too late. You learned how to verify, how to pause, and how to protect the people you love. And you learned that no prize worth winning ever asks you to pay first. So stay alert, stay informed, and stay empowered. And always remember to pause, question, and ask for help.